No country in Scandinavia has a bigger reputation for cheese than Denmark. Its modern industrial brands are found all over the world, but when it comes to artisan cheese, it's quite another story. I've travelled here to look at some of the benchmarks and to try and understand the influence of the Nordic food revolution. Denmark is the smallest nation in Scandinavia and home to the oldest monarchy in Western Europe. This sophisticated country is well known for its association with Hans Christian Andersen. And the capital, Copenhagen, has a vibrant nightlife, wonderful mix of old and new architecture, and is home to some of the finest restaurants in the world. Blessed with a mild maritime climate, it's influenced by both the North Sea and the Baltic, and the flat seaside meadows and picturesque green countryside are ideal for dairy farming. But despite a long history of milk production dating back to Viking times, there are very few old traditional Danish cheeses. Instead, the dairy industry is almost entirely focused on copying well-known European varieties. Most of these copies adopted Danish names after the Stresa Convention in Italy in 1951. And it's only very recently that a growing awareness of Nordic cuisine has encouraged the development of new and original artisan cheeses. This is the ferry to the island of Bornholm, and I'm going there to look at Denmark's most well-known cheese, Danish Blue. It was originally copied from a French Roquefort recipe during the 1920s, and today it's become so successful that Denmark produces more blue cheese than anywhere in the whole of Europe. Pretty fishing villages and medieval churches have all helped make the island of Bornholm a popular holiday destination for the Danes, and the lush pastures that grow in the unspoilt countryside create the perfect environment for dairy farming.
You have arrived to this small, beautiful island with around 600 square kilometers. Lives 42,000 people. 15 years ago, we have around 2,500 people working in the fish industry. Today, maybe 60 people altogether.
That's a big drop.
Big drop.
And so, tell me about the cheese.
Well, the cheese from Bornholm is quite famous. They very often come and tell stories about how they won gold medals in the World Championship. Especially the blue cheese is the best one.
Hans explained that the first cooperative dairy was established on the island in 1886, and it now produces more than 150 tonnes of cheese every month, which is not quite the artisan scale of production I'd expected to find here. Early attempts at making a copy of French Roquefort in Denmark from homogenized cow's milk failed. And it was only in 1927 that a cheesemaker called Marius Boll realized that if he added the mold Penicillium roqueforti and punctured the cheese with holes, it would mature into a strong blue cheese over several months. So how many cheeses are down here?
In this room we have 30,000 cheese.
30,000?
Yes.
Wow.
And every morning we have to turn all of them like this.
Oh, that's great. Let me have a go.
Yeah.
Have a go?
Yeah.
Oh, how clever is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise they will be out of shape.
And how long do they spend down here?
They will be here for 4 weeks.
4 weeks?
Yeah.
And then that's it?
Yeah.
Up to packing?
Yes.
Done, dusted,
Yeah.
out the door?
Yes.
Well, it's pretty big, but it's very impressive, just the same. After touring the dairy, Hans offered to introduce me to one of the 45 milk producers on the island. This typical Bornholm dairy farm has been supplying milk to the cooperative for 6 generations and is home to 120 cows and just 1 farmer. Like most of the dairy farms in Denmark, this farmer keeps the cows indoors in a large open barn throughout the year. Would you like to see your cows outside?
If he should put the cows outside, then he can't run his business. Because he's losing too much money. He's just one person with 120 cows here.
I last one half million.
Okay. They have a deficit last year for 500,000 Danish kroner.
Okay.
Even that they have the cow like this.
Because I feel really sorry for the poor cows like this, you know. It's like, poor cows. It doesn't seem right. They're meant to be sort of outside at least some of the year. But how does one farmer look after and milk 120 cows? The answer, of course, is Danish innovation. The extraordinary thing about this farm is the way the cows are milked. There's this robot, and the cows just walk in when they feel like it, and that's it. Hey presto, they're milked. I've never seen anything like it. More than half the cows in Denmark are milked by a robot. When the cow feels the urge, she steps into the milking bay. If milking is required, lasers are activated to clean the teats and attach the milking cups. Ingenious technology, but I'm a little concerned about the important relationship between the farmer and the cow. Our last stop on the island was the Johan Dam and Son Bakery, where they've been making a special rye biscuit for cheese since 1927.
My grandfather has a German baker after the First World War.
So he came
and
here.
He have the recipe. It's rye flour and a lot of special thing in. Caraway is in too.
So each biscuit has a different flavouring in it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Piquant.
Looking forward.
And white flour.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, we should go and try these with some cheese. Thank you very much.
Looking forward to that. Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Farvel.
We have a family tradition of small producers here. But to learn how to deal with the market outside the island have been a fight. And during the last 10 years, we have been working very much with it and have great success, actually.
That's really good. Yeah, really crispy goes with that.
That's
Creaminess of the cheese. That's great. Well, here's to the future. May you go on developing more and more local product.
We hope so.
With local names. From Bornholm, I returned to Denmark's capital, Copenhagen, to meet up with Alessandro Porcelli, who's been leading gourmet tours of Nordic cuisine for several years. Wonderful Copenhagen.
Welcome to Copenhagen. Well, as you can see, it's a very clean city. Everybody goes around on bicycles. There are actually more bicycles than people in Denmark.
It's a pretty city. There's a lot of old buildings.
Yeah, they're dating back into the 16th and 17th century.
I was intrigued to learn from Alessandro that fresh smoked cheese is very popular in Denmark, and quickly accepted his offer to show me one of the most original examples, now made on the small island of Fyn. On our way, we came across the tiny Sinai dairy, established in 1897. It's now the oldest remaining private dairy in the country and offers a range of handmade benchmarks, including Svembo, Dambo and Havarti, and of course, a variety of smoked cheeses. Can you ask if we can try some Havarti? I've never seen Havarti like that.
Ja. Ja.
Was that made here?
Ja, det er...
Det er her,
vi
lavet her?
Ja. Vi laver alle dem ugen.
All the cheeses you see here, they're made
Look at that. Not instead of just a square block, it's real Havarti. Great. Let me have a try. Thank you. That's so different. So different. Strong, lovely, lovely flavour. Slight little kick at the end.
Lovely aftertaste as well.
Fantastic. Bargain. Absolute bargain. After our brief stopover, I was looking forward to seeing how the Danes smoked fresh cheese. Cheese making doesn't get any more simple than this. Basically, just got curds and whey, which has been made from milk, set overnight with a special culture, and drained the following morning into one of these trays. Off you go, sir. Is that it? And the trays are left to drain for about 2 hours, salted, hey presto, ready for smoking. Once the curds have drained, the fun begins. Hay is packed into a special smoker, the fire is lit, and the cheeses are quickly flashed with hay smoke. This certainly adds a unique flavour to the cheese.
This is a very, very old Danish traditional cheese. It's a smoked cheese. Back in the history, for more than 1,000 years ago, there was start to produce this cheese out at the farms.
So this would be the oldest cheese in Denmark?
Yeah, this is the one original cheese we have if we go back at the history. And now here, many years after, it's around 90% of all the shops in Denmark now have this product.
Fantastic story.
Yeah.
Fantastic. This is the most popular cheese in Denmark, but you won't often find it exported. Its name is Danablu, and the Danish keep it for themselves as a little secret. And what's really exciting is the company that produced this is about to start experimenting with one made from raw milk. Danablu represents almost 75% of all cheese consumption in Denmark. And before the foundation of the cooperative system in the 1880s, it was made almost entirely on the farm. Today, most examples of this mild, semi-soft cow's milk cheese are produced and matured on a large mechanised industrial scale. And this dairy is one of the very few to still make Danablu using some of the old-fashioned techniques. Oh, it smells lovely and sweet.
Yes, you can smell that.
Lovely, sweet lactic smell coming off.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's your starter in there.
Yes, that's my starter. Our starter.
The Thidstrup Dairy claims to be the oldest cooperative dairy in Denmark and is now owned by Arla, the largest and most significant producer of cheese in Scandinavia. There are three really important things about the way this Danablu is made. The first is the use of a starter, which goes back to 1941. The second are these salt tanks. The water in these salt tanks is at least 30 years old. And then last but not least, they use a mother culture Brevibacterium to wash the cheeses on the outside. Arla was founded 120 years ago as a small cooperative of Swedish and Danish farmers, and it's since grown to represent more than 90% of all the cow's milk produced in Denmark. In my experience, it's very rare for such large cooperative groups to be interested in encouraging handmade artisanal cheese from a single farm. But Arla has recently begun a project to make cheese from organic raw milk and is working with some of the best chefs in the country to develop an innovative range of new cheeses.
Here we have the most special cheese on the dairy. We are storing cheese in grain.
Grain?
Yeah. This is how cheese was made for 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago.
Really?
You can smell the cheese, and it has a special smell, and it's also about the flavor. It will have about the same flavor.
It actually smells sort of bready.
Yes.
Like bread.
Yes.
You know? That's great. Well, we should go and try that.
Yes.
One of the first blue cheeses I can remember liking as a child was Blue Costello. And whilst I now think of it as beginner's blue, I couldn't come to Denmark without taking the opportunity to visit the dairy where it's made. This classic creamy blue cheese was originally created in the 1960s by the Thidstrup family. and it's since become a modern Danish benchmark found all over the world. What I want you to tell me is what you're looking for in this cheese.
First of all, I'm looking how the mold is spread out into the cheese, and then how the mouthfeel is. It has to melt down, and in the end, it has to be a slightly bitter.
Yeah, it is.
This is a perfect blue.
You know, a lot of blue, in fact, is sweet and salty, and the bitterness, I've never even thought about that. There is a little bit of bitterness there, which works really well with the buttery texture, because it's like butter that...
Yes, yes it is.
I've always thought that Castello was a type of blueberry, probably because of its shape and very creamy texture. But after my visit here, I realise I was wrong. In fact, it's a very clever form of Danish blue, made from carefully pasteurised cow's milk and added cream, rather than the homogenised milk used by its popular cousin, which is definitely an improvement in my opinion. The manifesto of the new Nordic kitchen focuses on the quality and simplicity of the wild and organically grown ingredients found in Nordic climes, and also the welfare of the animals and the environment.
You are seeing these days a type of culinary revolution going on, and I would say the base of it is in Copenhagen right now, but it's for sure spreading. And we're talking about a rediscovery of our product range, of our culinary traditions, and we're working with that to create a new, you can almost say flavor, a new flavor.
René Redzepi is executive chef at Noma restaurant in Copenhagen and is recognised as one of the most innovative chefs in the world.
I can take my bike 10 minutes and I'll be in a big park where I can forage foods. I can drive 10 minutes, I'll be on a farm. Or I can be on a shoreline, picking seaweed or harvesting vegetables. That's something unique for a capital, I would say. And as a chef, that's a gift.
One man who personifies the new Nordic philosophy is Niels Stockholm. His biodynamic dairy farm near Copenhagen was established more than 30 years ago and raises heirloom animal breeds, including one of the last herds of red Danish dairy cows. What you're saying is the horns are very important for the cows'
They are very
well-being.
important for the cows, especially in their digesting system. It sounds strange, but as you can maybe smell in this cow stable here, it's not smelling of any ammonium or anything like that. Unstable nitrogen in their manure is very high when we have horns, and it's very low when you don't have horns. But if you don't have the horns, it evaporates up in the atmosphere, and then we have the problem.
That's extraordinary.
Yes.
Absolutely extraordinary.
It's only in the industrial farms they are polluting the air, but not the old farmers.
This model property feeds 180 local families and supplies delicious quality meat and milk to restaurants like Noma. As you might expect, Niels is very critical of the industrial foods exported by Denmark and has a firm opinion on what the country should be doing instead.
If all farms in Denmark would be like this model farm here, we would be able to feed 18 million people. Denmark has 5 million now. That means we will still be able to export, but the export will then be very high quality food, both meat and milk, butter and so on. And so we still have something left over for export. And I think we can be more proud of selling quality food than bulk food.
So next is this beautiful organic farm down in the south of Denmark. It's called Knutelund in the village of Copenhagen. They are focusing very much on goat cheeses. The small is no part of the big industrial cheese farm.
Beautiful countryside.
Really beautiful.
So green. This fourth-generation organic dairy makes cheese from used and goat's milk. In addition to cheese, the 1,000-hectare property produces organic honey, jams and meat.
That's lovely, moist.
Well, it's getting more and more dry. You can also feel it's getting more dry. And you're getting more hard cheese, like an Italian style of cheese.
It's got a lovely, lingering, sort of savoury, herbaceous flavour.
It's fresh feed, and we also cut the grass 3 times a year to have the same grass all year round.
Fantastic. It's very, very encouraging to see such enthusiasm and to taste such great cheese. It really is lovely. Thank you. The secret behind this farm's beautiful cheeses is this stuff. It's sun-dried grasses that have been mown and mixed up with local herbs that grow on the estate. When these goats ingest it, it produces the most beautiful quality milk, which of course is the secret behind all great cheese.
The farm currently runs 400 milking ewes and 150 goats, and the dairy attracts over 25,000 visitors a year and is a great example of the growing consumer interest in artisanal cheese. My last destination is the world-famous Tivoli Fun Park in the heart of Copenhagen, where English-born chef Paul Cunningham has created a Michelin star restaurant which specialises in locally grown produce. And yes, surprise, surprise, Paul even has a recipe for smoking cheese.
We boiled a fresh full-fat milk, added the rennet, the sort of splits the cheese, or splits the milk and starts the process of turning it into cheese.
So just basically curds and whey.
Curds, yeah, curds and whey. And I flavoured the cheese with the pine needles. This gives a lemony note to the cheese. The woodruff gives a almondy note to the cheese. So and the woodruff's just this wild herb that grows in your garden, and you nine times out of 10, I'm sort of mowing it down on a Sunday afternoon. And then you just get this.
Look at that.
Absolutely wonderful.
Wow.
Really sort of smoky.
Can I have a taste?
Cheese. We've got these long, very long sort of radishes. Just need to be rubbed off. Right. Dirt's good.
Yeah?
Dirt's healthy.
I'll try not to eat it though.
And just dip it in.
Well, how simple's that?
These peppery notes really go well with the salt and the sour of the juice.
Creaminess.
Yeah.
Definitely, I think that
so you like
lifts it. Yeah.
Cutting all the time. So.
I'm never going to look at a bong again in the same light, the Christmas tree in the same light.
No.
And what an amazing
Maybe we should call it that. Christmas tree smoked cheese from Copenhagen.
That's beautiful.
Paul's recipes combine Danish cheese and local produce brilliantly, and his endorsement of the new Nordic food philosophy is truly inspiring. Despite the disappearance of traditional cheese-making here over the past 150 years, I've no doubt that in future we'll be hearing a lot more about Danish artisanal cheese.
We'll leave Roger in here. See you later, Rog. I reckon you're crazy. You're a big boy.
Yeah. It has. No, because there will come out there.